In 1944, at the height of World War II, a Japanese military hellship was transporting British prisoners of war. Inside the cramped hold, the atmosphere was unbearable. The prisoners were exhausted, starving, and covered in wounds. Among them was a Japanese soldier hanging in chains as punishment. He was Commander Saito, branded a traitor by his own army. He was being dragged away to face execution. Not long after, a British prisoner named Bronson, who had earlier tried to escape, was brought in as well. It quickly became clear that the two men were meant to die together. Their legs were shackled into one chain, and they were prepared to be thrown into the ocean. Just moments before the execution, an unexpected Allied attack rocked the ship. Explosions tore through the deck, throwing everything into chaos. Amid the destruction, Saito and Bronson managed to leap into the sea, leaving the ship to sink along with its crew. The next day, the waves carried them onto a remote island. Half-conscious, Bronson dragged Saito's unconscious body onto the shore. By midday, Saito woke up to find himself stranded on the beach, still chained to Bronson, who had collapsed from exhaustion. Panicking, Saito tried to break the chain, using a weapon taken from a dead soldier. Soon after, Bronson woke up too, and the two immediately fell into a violent fight that spilled across the shoreline. In the middle of the struggle, something suddenly emerged from the sea. A mysterious creature grabbed Bronson and left him badly injured. Saito reacted just in time, shooting the creature and saving Bronson's life. They retreated back to shore as things slowly calmed down. When Bronson tried to understand what had attacked them, Saito could only stare blankly at the ocean, unable to explain due to the language barrier. At one point, he nearly made a fatal decision, but Bronson stopped him. From that moment on, they agreed to work together if they wanted to survive. They began exploring the island in search of supplies. Along the shoreline, they found wreckage from the ship and the bodies of other Japanese soldiers who had washed ashore. Among the debris, they gathered food, drinks, and even clove cigarettes. Most importantly, Bronson found a metal gear that could be used as a makeshift blade. Not far away, he came across the body of a young soldier, once his comrade. The sight made him laugh briefly before sinking into grief. As night fell, Saito and Bronson remained by the beach. Saito cooked meat from their hunt and shared it with Bronson. Bronson drank the coffee Saito made and smoked one of the cigarettes he had found. The tension finally eased. In that quiet moment, the two men slowly began to open up to each other, despite not sharing a language, leaving behind the hatred shaped by war. They had no idea what else was waiting on the island. Welcome to Monster Island. After getting some rest, Saito and Bronson turned their focus to the chain, still binding their legs together. Bronson had reshaped a metal gear and attached it to a piece of wood, turning it into a crude cutting tool. He tried again and again, but the chain refused to break. Saito then suggested cutting the section closest to his own leg. Bronson hesitated, worried the tool might slip and injure Saito. Still, he pushed through the fear and went for it. This time, the chain finally snapped. They were free at last, but the calm did not last long. Strange sounds suddenly echoed nearby, the same presence that had attacked them before. Saito and Bronson braced themselves for trouble, only to be surprised by the arrival of two surviving Japanese soldiers. With them was an Indonesian prisoner named Yanto, who had also made it to the island after the ship exploded. Saito quickly told Bronson to hide in the bushes while he stepped forward to face his fellow countrymen. The senior soldiers welcomed Saito as a brother and shared a simple meal together. But the mood shifted when they noticed food prepared for more than one person. Suspicion crept in. One of them noticed marks still visible on Saito's leg and began to piece things together. It became clear that Saito had been labeled a traitor, and word of his betrayal had spread across the ship. When questioned about the British prisoner who had been chained to him, Saito stayed silent. Tension rose fast, and one of the soldiers even drew his katana. Before anything else could happen, a loud roar echoed again. Yanto trembled in fear, recognizing the creature that haunted the island. One soldier went to investigate, but moments later, screams tore through the jungle. He was brutally attacked by the fish-like monster, and his severed head was thrown back toward the group. Panic erupted. In the chaos, Bronson burst from hiding and struck one of the distracted soldiers from behind. Almost immediately, the creature returned, attacking the remaining soldier and then turning toward Yanto, who fled in terror. Saito and Bronson ran deep into the forest to escape the monster. During the chase, Bronson stumbled, and the creature was right behind him. He fired his weapon, but the bullets had no effect on its thick skin, and he was captured. Just in time, Saito charged in with a katana, slashing the creature and giving them a chance to escape again. In the darkness, they lost their footing and fell into a ravine, becoming separated. By morning, both men woke up badly injured. Saito had a deep wound in his chest, pierced by a broken tree branch. Bronson woke up coughing blood, hanging from a massive tree branch. As he tried to move, he slipped and fell into the river below. Somehow, he managed to reach the shore. Separated but alive, both men followed the rocky river in different directions. Bronson eventually reached the upper part of the river and froze when a giant crocodile appeared nearby. Luckily, it did not attack, and he continued on. Soon after, he spotted the fish-like creature tending to a wound on its arm, the same injury caused by Saito's blade the night before. Bronson watched from a distance. Suddenly, a crocodile lunged at the monster. The fight was brief. The creature easily overpowered and killed the crocodile. In that moment, Bronson realized just how dangerous it truly was. Meanwhile, Saito moved deeper into the forest and suddenly came across a human corpse. The discovery shocked him, proving that they were not the only ones who had ever been stranded on this island. The body was likely another victim of the fish-like creature. Still shaken, Saito stepped back and accidentally fell into a deep pit. At the bottom, he found the remains of the creature itself, with a bullet hole in its head. From this, he realized that one of the previous victims had managed to fight back and shoot the monster before dying. It was then that Saito understood the creature's weakness lay in its head. Saito took whatever usable weapons he could find and continued on until he reached the wreckage of an aircraft. After noticing something unsettling, he quickly left the area. Not long after, Bronson arrived at the same wreckage and found a few tools along with some cigarettes. He sat down for a moment to rest until Saito suddenly appeared and startled him. After everything they had been through, the two finally reunited among the scattered remains of the plane. Saito took a cigarette from Bronson and led him into a nearby cave. Inside, they discovered a baby mare creature, the offspring of the fish-like monster. Bronson immediately saw it as a threat that needed to be eliminated. Saito disagreed, believing that killing it would only provoke the creature's rage and put them in greater danger. Instead, Bronson came up with a risky plan to use a missile from the crashed aircraft, lure the creature into the cave, and detonate it there. Together, they struggled to move the heavy missile into position. Unfortunately, the missile was sealed tight and could not be armed. They left the cave to retrieve an axe from the plane wreckage that could break the seal. Before they could return, the creature attacked again. This time, they fought back with the katana and the axe, managing to wound it and force it to retreat. They rushed back into the cave, hoping to arm the missile before it returned. Things did not go as planned. The creature arrived first and launched another brutal attack. During the violent struggle, Bronson was critically wounded when the monster's claw pierced his abdomen. With what little strength he had left, Saito shot the creature and its offspring. Enraged by the loss of its only child, the monster went into a frenzy. Seeing his own condition worsening, Bronson forced Saito to escape. He chose to stay behind and detonate the missile, sacrificing himself to ensure the creature would never follow Saito again. Saito ran as fast as he could away from the blast, but the creature had survived. It chased him all the way to the shoreline. Exhausted and hopeless, Saito collapsed on the beach. The creature spotted what it thought was him and attacked, only to realize it was a corpse placed there as bait. The real Saito was hiding beneath the sand. When the monster let its guard down, Saito struck with his blade, and the two clashed in one final desperate fight. In the end, Saito managed to defeat the creature, but he did not finish it immediately. He went to retrieve a flare gun. When he looked back, the monster was gone. With no other choice, Saito fired the flare into the sky as a distress signal. After that, he could only lie weakly on the beach. Days passed before a ship finally arrived and rescued him. Aboard the vessel, Saito received proper medical treatment and slowly recovered. During questioning, he explained why he had been imprisoned in the first place. He had killed his own general, a man known for his cruelty toward his soldiers. When asked about Bronson, Saito remembered how happy his friend had been over something as simple as finding a single cigarette. To honor his memory, Saito lit a cigarette in tribute to the man who had given his life for him. From the deck, he looked back at the island, carrying scars, loss, and memories that would never fade. The story ends there. So the moral of the story is that no matter how intense the war, the monster, or the situation is, friendship can start from being chained together and end with sharing a single cigarette. So maybe do not judge your survival buddy too fast.